you everybody for watching and staying put and staying late until this time. I thank you and congratulate everybody. Today we are talking about something so special, and it is something that everybody is dying to know. Everybody would like to understand what is the meaning of the future. But in the real sense, the future has no definitive inform a translation or definition. But there are little things I can say about the future. Understanding your future is about knowing what the present requires. Knowing what the present requires determine how and the nature of the coming future. If you don't understand what the present requires, you will never know about the future, because the future is about the foundation laid at the present. I will share with you something so that you get to understand that really the future is all about the present. It never comes from the blues, it never comes from the white skies, it never comes from the blowing wind. The future has to be built, and how to build it is not above the water. How to build it is only on the present. Listen to this. For no man can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid. No man, that means no humankind, will ever lay a foundation other than that has already been laid. Every foundation that will be laid by any humankind, a foundation that is different from the foundation that was laid before, it will always backfire. It will backfire. And that is why you see things are backfiring in the world. That is what has made the world be what it is at the moment. The world is what it is because the foundation that was laid, which can never be laid any foundation upon that foundation, or any foundation different from that foundation. The humankind have tried so many times to lay a foundation which is different from the foundation that was laid. That is why, keep in mind, the future depends on the present. And you can never see your future, you can never understand your future unless you know what the present requires. If you have no idea what the present requires, then the foundation is the foundation is a shaky one, is a messy one, is a doomed foundation. But we got to understand because you know sometimes the life has so many options. But what I can tell you that to some extent there is no any other option than only one option: understanding the future and knowing that for you to build that future or understand it better, then you have to understand what the present requires. If you have no idea what the present requires, then we are a failed generation. We will create a failed generation. And the coming generation will totally be a failed generation if we fail to understand what the present requires and what the future should be. In life, those two has to work one on one. The present and the future. They don't run parallel. They are one on one. A train and rail. No separation. For a train to be called a train, and for anybody to be proud of a train, there has to be a rail. If there is no rail and there's a train, that is stupidity. That is foolishness. If there's a rail and there's no train, then I wonder which knowledge we call that. For us to understand the future, we have to know what the present requires. Let me share with you some, because I don't want to preempt the entire points about the future and the present. But I leave to you. In my language, they say, ninawapeni kazi ya ziada. Mwende mtafute, kwani siku za usoni ni vitu gani zahitajika. Na kwa sasa, mambo yepi yanahitajika. Ni akili gani inafaa tuwe nao kwa sasa, ili siku za usoni na jamii, kila jamii waone manufaa ya wakati huu. Inafaa kila jamii, inafaa kila familia, inafaa kila eneo yote ulimwengu inafaa kila nchi yote ulimwengu wajue na waelewe ni vitu gani ambavyo vinafaa na gani yahitajika kwa sasa, ili siku za usoni ziwe nyakati ambazo zinatufaa sisi zote, ili siku za usoni ziwe siku ambazo tunasherekea. Sasa mimi ninawapeni kazi ya ziada. Muyatafakari mambo hayo, muyachambue akili zenu na mawazo zenu, ili mjue ni mambo gani yanahitajika kwa sasa, ili siku za usoni ziwe siku ambazo zinasherekewa na kila mtu. Let's get back to the topic. Just a bit of it. And thank you once again for listening. Here is another verse. Act 4:11. He is the stone which was rejected by you, the builders. He is the stone which was rejected by you, the builders, but which became the chief cornerstone. The stone rejected by the builders. The future of a house is a full structure having the four walls, having the ceilings, or if not the ceilings, then the roof, having full floor, having the door and the window. That's the future of a full house. For that house to realize, for a house as a structure to realize its future, then the only thing that can be used at the present is the stone. Brick by brick has to be laid, one by one, course by course, until the wall is complete. Once the wall is complete, then the focus is on the roof to ensure that whenever there is a heavy wind, heavy rainfall, anybody inside the house is safe. Everybody's proud of being inside the house. That's the foundation of a house. That's the future of a house. And therefore, in this life, also, we have to know that the builders of the future is nobody other than you and I. For nobody comes to build the future for you, but you have to build it. A future is not built by human hands. No. Can I tell you why? King David thought that for him to make a future better and for him to make people understand that he participated in building the future, he thought of building a house for the Lord. But the Lord said, no, there is something in your hand that makes your hand not worthy enough to build for me a house. Though it will be built by your own son. But again, when King David's son came up, he was never remembered by building the house. He was only remembered by his wisdom, not the house that he built. That means the future cannot be built by hands. The future cannot be built by mind, by brain, by knowledge. Because human knowledge has turned to be the greatest mess of the world. Human knowledge. Akili ya binadamu imegeuka kuwa sumu sugu katika maisha ya watu duniani mzima. Hekima za binadamu zimeharibu maana ya maisha. Akili za binadamu zimeharibu maana ya maisha. It's so sad. Very sad. It's sad. It's so sad that you can cry, you can weep. It is so sad. But we have to know that is why the foundation, the future, is worth understanding. We have to take time to understand. We have to take time to understand the present. We have to take time to understand the future. And for us to make that future better, we have to know that we can never make the future better in the future. We can only make the future better in the present. And we cannot make the present be part of the future if we don't understand what the present requires to make the future better. And that is a collective. It has to be a collective. It has to be systematic. It has to be systematic, understanding what the present requires so that the future can be much better, so that we can be proud of the future. So sad. It's very sad. But still, we have to work on it. We have to work on the present. We have to understand what the present requires. We have to know what the present requires. We have to know and see what we want in the future. And that what we want in the future, we have to work on it. Lakini ole wenu binadamu wenye hekima mingi, ambao wanatumia hekima zao kuharibu maana ya maisha. Ole wenu binadamu wanao hekima mingi sana, lakini mnatumia hekima zenu kuharibu maisha. Hekima zenu zinafaa kutumika kuendeleza umuhimu wa maisha, kueneza the knowledge. Every existing knowledge has to be used to create hope to the hopeless. The knowledge, every knowledge that human being has to be used in building a foundation for the future. Every knowledge that each and every human being has must be used in knowing what the present requires. We have to. Every knowledge that every human has must be used for the better of everyone's existence. Lakini nahofia sana mimi kwa sababu watu wenye hekima mingi wana hekima ambazo wakijitolea ya kwamba wanataka kutumia hekima zao kutengeneza kitu ya maana, hii maisha inaweza kuwa mema zaidi. Lakini dunia imeharibika kiasi. Lazima tusikizane. Ni kweli kabisa. Dunia imeharibika kiasi. We katafakari, ebu funga macho. Angalia kila kitu ambazo zinafanyika ulimwengu mzima. Kwani watu wenye wako na hekima hawatumii hekima zao kutengeneza au kuboresha siku za usoni. Watu wenye hekima inafaa watumie hekima zao kuboresha siku za usoni. Hiyo tu ndio itasaidia binadamu na itasaidia ulimwengu huu. Kama watu wa hekima ambao wamepewa hekima bure hawajanunua, Mungu amewapea tu. Yaani Mungu ameamua kuwapea tu. Mungu ni mwema sana. Ni mkarimu. Amewapatia hekima, amewapatia tu. Hawakulipa chochote. Lakini sasa kwa nini utumie hekima zako kuharibu siku za usoni? Ewe binadamu, mbona utumie hekima zako kuharibu siku za usoni? Kila binadamu, lazima tuelewane. Kila binadamu na kila hekima ambazo Mungu ametupa humu ulimwenguni ni la maana sana. Ni la maana sana kutumia hekima zetu kuboresha siku za usoni. Hekima umepewa bure. Mbona ulipishe? Mbona ulipishe kwa gharama mingi sana? The future is shaky. The future is stony. The foundation of the future has a huge crack. Fixing it. That crack, fixing it will take centuries, will take energies. But if people of knowledge can turn around, stop misusing their knowledge, stop abusing the knowledge that God has given them free, stop overcharging the knowledge that God has given free, you get to understand why the economies why the economy is rising, why life is becoming more expensive. Can you ask yourself why? Why is life getting more expensive? It's because God has given human being knowledge for free, but they're using that knowledge, or rather, they're renting that knowledge at a very, very expensive cost. Yes, that is why the world is what it is. Human being never get satisfied. They want more and more and more and more, and they don't care. What they care is that they want more. That is what human beings care. That is what people of knowledge care. Is it the time? Is it really the time? Is it the time? Give me a minute. Give me just a minute. I will be back. I will be back shortly. I am back. I want to read for you something. Is it the time? We left there. Is it the time? This is what happened. This is what happened. But is it the time? Can it happen again? When the man got up to leave, that one I'm reading Genesis 18:16 to 33. I will read for you. Bear with me. I will go through one by one so that we understand. Is it the time? Can it reoccur again? Or can a similar time be created and reoccur in this time we call present? When the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. The Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what am I about to do? What shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and a powerful nation, and all nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will direct his children and his households after him to keep the way of the Lord, by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. for God to bring what he promised Abraham, then this generation have only two options: doing what is right and just, nothing less, nothing more. Doing what is right and just. Then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. The men turned away and went towards Sodom. But Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Then Abraham approached him and said, that one, Abraham approached the Lord and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? That was Abraham's concern. If the Lord is to sweep the entire world, will he sweep the righteous and the wicked at the same time or all together? That was Abraham's concern. Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? For be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of all the earth do right? The Lord said, listen, the Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of the Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham spoke up again. Now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the number of the righteous is 5 less than 50? That is 45. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5 people? If I find 50 there, the Lord said, I will not destroy it. If I find 55 there, he said, I will not destroy it. Once again he spoke to him. What if only 50 are found there? He said, for the sake of the 50, I will not do it. The Lord said. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? Abraham is so curious, very curious. He wants to know exactly what God's plan and what God can do. And he's trying to understand that if God is to sweep away the entire earth, can 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 he be so merciful to some who are trying to be just and who are trying to do what is right? There is an answer here. Abraham said, Now that I have been so bold to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. What a heart. That is the heart of God. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there? He answered, the Lord answered, he answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home. The future shall never be a future if we don't take time and understand what the present requires. The future shall never exist to the benefit of you and I if we don't take time to understand what the present requires. Remember, the Lord had promised that for his promises to Abraham and for this generation to realize those promises, to enjoy those promises, to embrace those promises, to benefit from those promises, then there are two things they have to do. One, they have to do what is right. Two, they have to do what is just. In the absence of the two, the future is doomed. Let's take time and try to understand what the present requires so that we can make or we can be happy about the future. It's very important. We have no option. Even if there is any other best option, then there is no any other option, even if there is any other best option, other than to understand what the present requires so that the future can be of beneficial to you and I. You need to know that God promised great things to Abraham, and that was that is the future that is to come. And this generation, they are the descendants. And for these descendants to realize, to benefit from the promises, then there are two things they got to do. No shortcut. To do what is right and just. Right and just. In the absence of the two, the future is doomed. Yeah, let's understand what the present requires and let's know how to use the requirements of the present so that the future can be much great, peaceful, prosperous, and full of God's glory. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share my video, and see you again. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.